Well, we're going to talk to three former players today for the legendary Coach Ed DiGregorio. And the first is she was a star guard for him for the years 1988 through 1992. This is Dianne Rappach-Kosco. How you doing, Dianne?
Hey, John. I'm doing really good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. So when you heard the news, how did you hear the news? What was your reaction, Dianne, to the passing of Coach D on Sunday?
You know what? It struck me hard in my heart. I know I saw Coach D in May. The fact that he made it out to a Curbstone Coaches Banquet is amazing. He was 92. And I talked to him then, and I've been keeping in touch. I would run into Marilyn Aruba quite often out and about, and she kept me updated. It really hit, but then on the other side of it, it's a feeling of, wow, what a life Coach D had. So in another sense, I was like, wow, 93 years, how incredible to live a life like with Coach D. I know he had ups and downs like everyone else, but just the fact that he impacted so many lives, including myself, it was amazing. So I was sad in one moment because at the age of 93. And in another moment, I was like, oh, my gosh, to live and have that longevity is amazing. So it was back and forth for me, very emotional, as well as talking to people about him. At times we were laughing, and at times I would cry about it. So it was tough. It's very tough.
Let me pass along some of his achievements. This has been done, but I'm going to reiterate this because we are paying homage to Eddie DeGregorio today. 20 years as a head coach, began first year 83 through 84. 3 NCAA tournament appearances. That's unbelievable for Youngstown State University. The men are still trying to get there. 5 consecutive mid-con titles, 6 20-win seasons, an overall record of 320 and 240 for a 570 winning percentage. He was inducted into the Youngstown State Hall of Fame in 2003. In the 1990s, you know, we talk about the football team and Jim Tressel being the team of the 90s. There was another team of the 90s right next door, and that was the YSU women. 5 consecutive mid-con titles. They rattled off incredible seasons, 17 and 11, 20 and 9, 28 and 3, 20 and 9. 2 teams in the 90s were absolutely folklore material. 97 through 98, they went 28 and 3, 15 and 1 in the mid-con, 16-game winning streak. They meet Memphis, which was historic for Youngstown State's program, 91 to 80 in the NCAA tournament that year. Coach D was a 1945 graduate of East High School, and then he got his first college degree in 1951 at Mount Union College. Got his postgraduate degree, I believe, at Westminster, if I'm not mistaken. He coached football, he coached hoops, and he coached baseball out in North Lima. Head football and basketball coach at East High School's alma mater. And Joe Malmazer, his buddy and the former athletic director at East, helped get him aboard at Youngstown State. And he also coached in 3 distinctive conferences, the OVC from 83 through 88, the Mid-Con from 92 through 2001, and also the beginning of the Horizon League entry for the YSU Lady Penguins from 01 to 03. So, man, when you look at that resume, Dianne, and he did all of that, and this was a guy, if you look back in history, that said, you know what, I'll come aboard and I'll help you. Youngstown State women's program had fallen on leaner times. And this guy comes over and he goes, I'm going to do it for 1 year. I'll help you. I'll get you back on track.
Yes.
And then he's there for 20 years and sets all kinds of records. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah, when you look back at that, thinking, you know, he was hired just to help out Mr. Malmazer, and then to do that. And as you read all that, I'm thinking each one of those years, how many lives he touched by coaching and being, in education altogether. So he has touched so many people. It's amazing. And all the accomplishments that he has done, it's just the life. That's what it's amazing. And that's what I keep reflecting on.
You know, during your playing days from 88 through 92, Dianne, is there one specific or memorable story about Coach DiGregorio that you'll never forget? And it's like, oh my gosh, that was a special moment in my life, looking back at being reflective.
You know what? There is one, and it was at the very beginning. Coach D, I mean, he started, recruiting probably when I was a freshman in high school, I would say. But the one moment is when he came to my house and talked with my parents in my living room, and I signed that letter of intent. I'll never forget that, because I don't know that many coaches that actually go to the home now, speak with the parents, tell them, I'm going to take care of your daughter, sign right there in my living room. That right there changed my life big time. I'll never forget that. Even so, all the games and the wonderful records that we did have, I'll never forget that, because my parents knew that, I was going with him to YSU, and he was going to take care of me. He was like another father figure for us. So that memory, I remember it, and I tell people that story all the time, because you don't see coaches doing that today that often. It's so much different. So, yeah, that's the one that I'll keep forever.
And you had great success with the Matthews Mustangs. You were part of a Division III state title team in '87 and '88. Dianne, reflective back on those days, that led Coach D to come and recruit you, walk in, win your parents over, win you over, and attend Youngstown State. The Matthews Mustang days are the things that propelled you toward bigger things in the future at the collegiate level.
Oh, absolutely. We had a wonderful team. The 5 starters that we played together, we started when we were young. In junior high, it started where we came together and we played as a team. And if you can do that, and the way that we were successful was because of us playing together. And when it came to our senior year, it was amazing. Like the fact that we never lost a game, and the fact that Coach D was there the whole time. That's what's amazing, too. He watched that whole team develop from our freshman year all the way up to our senior year. And I knew early on that I was going to go to YSU because Coach D was around. And I did want to be close to home so my family could come watch me play. And it was a great school and a great program. But playing on that state tournament team and winning it all, another great memory that I'll cherish forever. All the people that were a part of that and all the players, it's amazing. So I'm very, very lucky and very fortunate that we were so successful. And I'm gratitude, because then YSU took me on, and I was able to continue for 4 more years and play.
Dianne, I think you're qualified to answer this from a player and a coach's perspective. You also were an assistant coach under Coach D. So I want to ask you, how would you describe his demeanor from both a player and assistant coach's perspective, and what you watched and what you observed and what you learned from Coach DeGregorio?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is he's a no-nonsense type of coach. He didn't want to deal with the drama. He didn't like that. Our whole thing with Coach was, I'm going to tell you what to do. You go out and you give 110%, because he wanted you to play to your potential. He expected, as a coach, to do your best, too, and do whatever you can for the team to help out. So he was definitely a no-nonsense type of individual. He was hard. He was tough on the court. But then again, off the court, he would talk to you. He was the most loving guy. Family. He always considered us his daughters as a player and a coach. We were always one of his daughters, and whatever we needed, he was there and he got it for us. So there was never any drama, I want to say. He didn't like it. And at the same time, he was loving, and he brought us together as a family. So the fact that he was able to be a great coach on the court, and then he developed us into successful individuals off the court is so important in coaching today and back then, because it's hard to balance. A lot of coaches just focus on the wins and the losses. But once those players step off that court, what happens to them? And Coach D was doing that years ago. He was developing us into successful ladies so that we can move on after basketball was done. And that's crucial in coaching. It's such a wonderful thing, and I have that to cherish, even with my own kids today, instilling in them.
Connor and Colton, you got 2 young boys there. How's the young guys doing?
Connor and Colton are wonderful. Connor's successful in Pittsburgh with his job. Colton, oh my gosh, he's back. He's at YSU. He is doing awesome, and he loves Coach Phillips. We know Coach Phillips from when he was at YSU, so we are ecstatic that he is back at YSU, and Colton is so happy that he made the transfer from Kent to YSU. He loves the program. He loves the coaches. He thinks it's an outstanding program, and he's happy to be there. And then, of course, I have my 10-year-old twins, Brooklyn and Brian, that I'm coaching all their sports. each season a new sport with them. And thank you for asking. They're wonderful, and we're all healthy, and that's most important right now. So we're excited.
No doubt about it. Let's look back upon your illustrious career. When I think about Dianne Rappach, then as you were known, you were an incredible three-point shooter. In fact, you hold the school record for 198 triples, and you're also a great assist player, too, at the guard position, but you shot 37% from outside the three-point circle. And you were very durable, too, Dianne. You played even when you were hurt. We talked about the versatility. You look back at you, basically, I thought you were a four-year starter starting at freshman, because even in your freshman campaign under Coach D, you started 22 of 28 games. As you look back and reflect on what you were able to accomplish for him, one, you had to make him proud, and two, you had to make yourself proud because you were doing everything as advertised when you were recruited.
And you know what? That was part of Coach D. He expected that. He knew exactly how to get us to work to our potential. And he made it known. You know, if you were doing something that wasn't at the level where he thought you would be or should be at, he would definitely let you know. Like, again, no nonsense type of guy, but he got that. He was able to bring that out in all of us. We wanted to play really good for him and ourselves and the team. So thanks to Coach D. I mean, as far as, you know, all the records, the three-pointers and the assists, honestly, people ask me, and I don't remember any of that. I remember, you know, playing as a team and having fun. It was my eyes coming from a small-town Vienna and going to YSU and traveling to Tennessee to play the Tennessee girls. I mean, my eyes were popping out of my head quite often because it was just, I was in awe of the whole thing. So going out and playing for him and playing for the Penguins was amazing. As far as the accolades, I honestly, I couldn't remember them. Someone says, I saw you in a book, and I'm like, that's great, but I don't remember my numbers. I do remember our 1 year. We were 24-4, and the teams passed the records, of course, the better teams when they got into the conferences. But I remember that, and that's probably the most important thing, that we were 24-4 and we had a great year. So, but again, it all goes back to Coach D and what he expected and how he coached us on and off the court, and it's wonderful memories.
And when you get to the NCAA tournament and the big dance, that feeling had to be a sense of accomplishment. Youngstown State women's program,
Yes.
You know, you're going to the big dance, and what did that feel like, Dianne, for you and your teammates?
I'll never forget walking in the locker room after the game, after we just won. It was just, we were just so excited. Everyone was screaming and yelling. It was amazing. And then Coach comes in, as calm and collective as could be, and giving us this, you know, great congratulatory speech. And I think we were all numb because the fact that we made it that far and beat that, it's amazing when I think back to that too, because the girls were awesome. They played so well, and it was fun. That's what makes, as long as you're enjoying it and you're playing awesome, it's a great combination for success. So it meant that was unbelievable.
And Dianne, you've gone into coaching yourself. You've done it, and I assume that you picked up a lot of tidbits and tools for success from Coach D and studied him, but yet wanted to sort of do it your own way too. But he was a big mentor and a big influence on how you yourself dedicated yourself in the coaching field.
Oh, yeah, and I see that a lot today when I'm coaching my twins. And the players on the team, they look at me sometimes because I'll say to them, they come off and they say a girl hit me or I was elbowed. And first thing I say, well, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit and cry? And that's what Coach D would say. Coach D would say, get out there and hit her back or play even harder and take her to the hoop yourself and show her who's better. So I instill that. It's funny in my own players and my twins. I tell them that. What are you going to do about it? I don't want to hear you whining. Do something. And that is Coach D. And it's funny because not even just with sports, but outside in profession. Like, don't sit there and complain. Have a solution. Do something to improve. And that's what I think about often in my head both on when I'm coaching in the real world, in my profession. It's being proactive, and that's crucial. That's big in life.
Dianne, where are you coaching currently, if I might ask?
Well, I just finished coaching my 10-year-old daughter's sort of travel basketball team. So I'm not doing anything outside of the Twins right now. I coach soccer. It's just I'm not getting back into the high school realm. I haven't done that yet, and I don't know if I ever will. I did that for quite a few years. I like sitting on the sideline, though, and watching and evaluating, and then after the game, telling them this is something you can work on, and having just conversations with the Twins about that, but also with Colton. After a football game, he'll sit and sort of critique how he played, and I try to give him feedback as far as just being positive. But I like to see in Colton how he does go in, he does critique it, he does want to say, what can I do better, and what can I do to get to the next level? And I like seeing that in Colton already because it's instilled. And I think it's a combination of coaches and, his dad and myself. It's so important to be able to reach your kids. Don't be totally, just about winning. It's as a person as a whole, what can you do to improve? And that's something that I hope that I continue to instill in the kids.
And you look back upon some of your fond days at Youngstown State under Coach DeGregorio, your teammates, your camaraderie, the chemistry, and all the hard work that you guys put in together. Who are some of the notables that you'll never forget that you played alongside during your time from 88 through 92, Di?
Oh, my gosh. Julie Bray was one who has since, she did pass. She was an incredible player in person. Donna Wirtz, who's up in Cleveland, she was a great guard, as well as Gina Rex. We all played so well together, and we all had the same attitude, and that's what's important too. And having a team where all of you don't like to lose, and you're going to do whatever it takes to win. It's coming together, and we had that. And it was fun. It was fun. A 24-4 season. It was very interesting. And it's funny because Gina Rex, we played each other back in the tournament when we were both seniors. I think it maybe was regional finals, and then having to play with each other at YSU was a little interesting because she didn't like me when we ended up beating her in the tournament.
Yeah, there you go.
But again, we came together and we put that aside, and we were able to play well. So great memories, great players, and great people.
So when you went from Matthews to Youngstown State University and Coach D says, hey, I like your outside shooting. You could shoot from the perimeter. Was it intimidating for you? I mean, the players had to be bigger, faster, and stronger from what you encountered during your state championship run at Matthews. Describe that process and that transition from going to that small school at Matthews and going to Youngstown State and eventually having this unbelievable success with the Lady Penguins.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is I think that transition from high school to college is big. But I think my mentality was it didn't matter. I pushed that aside and didn't even think about it because all I wanted to do was play and do my best. So I think I'm thankful for my parents instilling in me the mentality to be strong and don't think about the negatives and don't be scared about all that. Just focus on what you have to do and go out and do it and be successful. So the fact of thinking about bigger and so maybe a little bit, I will say though, against Tennessee. I better not say altogether because it was intimidating when we played them. It was a different level. But as far as my individual play, that transition from high school, it was just a mentally, what do I want to say? I just blocked it out. A mental block that came, I'm not going to think about that. And I didn't. And I think that's why I was able to play, luckily, my freshman year and get on the court some. But I just didn't let it bother me.
You talk about playing Tennessee, one of the historic, legendary college basketball programs in the country from the female ledger. What was it? You were intimidated. You were a little bit in awe. Now, you admitted that to me. But at some point during the course of the game, did you say to yourself, you know what? Okay, I'm just going to go back to what I know. I realize I'm playing against this enormous school in the Lady Volunteers. Talk to me about what that felt like inside mentally for you at that point.
You're right. It's one point at the beginning of the game, it was frustrating because like we were pumped up, we're going to give our best, and you were just going to surprise everybody. And then it sort of turned because then it's like, oh my gosh, this is a totally different level that we're not used to. And then it became, okay, let's just sort of have fun with it. You
Yeah.
have to. You had to, because if not, you would have been so in the hole and so down. But instead, make the most of it and say, look at where I'm at. I'm at Tennessee. I'm playing amongst these players and this incredible coach. So it could have played a big toll on my mind, and I'm sure with the other players too. But as I look back at that, and I think, oh my gosh, how cool was that? I mean, it was amazing that we had that opportunity, and I'll never forget that.
3-point shooting. You're either you got it or you don't. And Dianne, you had it. And by the way, I challenge you when this COVID-19 quarantine's over. Me and you're going to play a game of horse. Is that fair enough?
Oh yeah, any day, any time. You let me know.
Yeah, me and you in a game of horse. We'll do it at Beagley Center. We'll sell tickets for it. It'll be a grand event. But seriously, Dianne, 3-point shooting. What made you so successful from out there? Score 198 triples. That's astounding for a collegiate career. When you're coming down, are you looking at the basket immediately, or is there a technique that you use? What was it?
No, it really wasn't. But now that I look back at it, I think you just get in a zone. Because I do remember the one game I was 7 for 8 for them. You get into a zone where everything is clicking. And you hope that the next game you get that same feeling, and it doesn't happen. But it's almost just like you have so much confidence because you've practiced that shot and shot it hundreds of thousands of times during practice. I can do it during the game. So, again, it's just that mental state of thinking positive and thinking that you could do it. And I think that's all it was with me, because I knew I practiced, and it's a holistic approach, because if you are confident with your shooting, with even working out, and it's just a mental approach to things, you can do anything. That's how I feel.
How did you feel too, though, Di? Because people realized that you were such a prolific 3-point shooter from out there that they would come and they would pick up Dianne Rappach at the midcourt line. It's like, hey, we're not going to let her beat us from outside. Could that fluster you with double-team defense and people picking you up at the midcourt line?
No, I'll be honest with you, John. That was the best time. I loved that, because then I knew, someone else is going to be open and I won't have a shot, but someone else will. That was the challenge that I really liked, because that happened. Yeah, they knew, I could shoot, but then that also, gave me the opportunity to, go around them and go for a layup and do something different. But that, it was something that was considered more of a challenge that I liked. And I don't know. That's the competition. That's something that's instilled in me that that you just can't get rid of, I guess. Give me something, and I'll put my mind to it and try to do the best that I can.
As a mother, as a coach, as a person, from the time that you were at Youngstown State and playing for Coach DeGregorio to today, how much has Dianne Rappach-Kosco changed during the course of that time, personally?
Oh, my gosh. A lot. From the small-town girl in Vienna who just wanted to play basketball and played at 9, 10 o'clock at night under lights in my driveway, to being here today, doing it with my own kids, and having the coaches, especially Coach D, have an impact on that helped me develop into the person. I can't even describe, because the person that I've developed from all of this, I don't want to change anything. I'm so lucky and so fortunate to what I have today because of that. I can't even put a number on what exactly the whole thing of it, what it's worth. I can't, because it's so valuable, and I wish that so many kids could have that opportunity to have a great coach, a great high school coach, and a great college coach who taught me on the court what to do and off the court, instilled those qualities to be a successful woman and professional. It's so valuable. So it has made me into a better person, And again, I am very fortunate from what Coach D has given me. I'm sad, but at the same time, I'm elated because I'm so lucky. And I just can't put words, I guess, to what it means to me, what Coach D has done for me.
Boy, several different factors and phases of your life, Dianne, and you've conquered them all. And that's a tribute to your character and your person. Thanks for being on with us on Breaking Batch. And rest in peace, Coach DeGregorio.
Yes.
We'll never forget you.
That is the truth. And thank you, John, for having me. It means a lot.
Absolutely.